Hello. I hope all is progressing well. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss a variety of topics and have an opinion on it because we can. Of course, in connection with I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, the Peaches Forums is really a space for individuals to offer anything they might want me to review, discuss, of course, all in a civil manner. The first topic we're going to talk about is quite serious, actually. Can you believe it? We're having to deal with dress code situations in the nation of America. What do I feel about a dress code growing up in schools having to wear uniforms? I think those dress down Fridays can be a little off-putting for an individual that may not actually have too many outfits outside of the uniforms. Though, I think a strict dress code in a sense is toward protecting youth from becoming targets for individuals looking for youth wearing certain types of equipment, clothing, I have to say, can be safe. Though, I question the actual school ground safety if that is an actual situation. I'm just saying. I think children and parents have to have a discussion about what's safe to wear, what's not safe to wear. Respectability around clothing is huge in certain cultures, and of course, when it comes to religious attire, that's an entirely different conversation. I don't want to breach anyone's religious roles. And be mindful of what a person wears. As the viewer and as the wearer, be mindful of what one wears. It's so important. Because guess what? Wearing certain attire is not the reason for anyone to address a person in a certain way, though maybe the reason a person addresses one in a certain way. That's a reality. Not everyone has upbringings, culturing mindsets to adhere to certain guidelines concerning attire. Oh, the dress codes, I can understand them, though what I better understand are uniforms. If the school wants to apply dress code, just make it standard for children to wear uniform. Then have dress down days that everyone can agree to wear a uniform or a dress down form of attire. Less headaches for everyone, I think. The next topic concerns illegal marijuana. This is actually a shock for me coming from a state like California where marijuana is legal. So to be on the East Coast and knowing that marijuana is legal makes me a little curious about what's going on, especially in relation to this article. I'm going to check it out live with you all. We're actually not going to watch it live together because that video that comes with the article is just about an opening of a marijuana shop. So I read the article before I watch the video. What can I say? I like to read. The idea is that 9-to-5ers, people that have day jobs, likely people that just have 9-to-5, 8-hour shift type jobs, more or less, concerning the hour in the shift, are smoking marijuana in broad daylight. How do I feel about marijuana? Well, I know there are a lot of medicinal benefits concerning cannabis, and I know people have a lot of therapeutic tantra-like situations that are very holistic and healing, and I don't want to interfere with any responsible, safe use that's benefiting someone in a long-term sense. I am sober. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't use intoxicants. And I think it's just important to be mindful with the mindset of someone that owns a company. I understand that even with food that might have certain types of smells in an office space, the employees can find a sense of unsettling smelling the different foods. The different scents in the air can be distracting. And that's the same way with cigarette smoke, with coffee smoke, the scent of coffee, with marijuana smoke. So I think it's just important to be mindful of one's surrounding, because some smells are a little more off-putting than others. Obviously, to each one's own, though I really feel as though when a person is going to partake in certain activities, just be mindful of surroundings one might be entering. Even the scent of alcohol for some individuals off of someone's breath can be like, whoa. Also, never know what another person is recovering from, dealing with personally. So, work, believe it or not, is like an escape for some individuals that might be dealing with things no one really knows about. So when a person has to deal with a situation that's normally outside of work, that starts to creep into the workspace, well, it can become a situation. So I think having healthy conversations, of course civil discourse, can lead to better understanding one's lay of the land, the environment one is in, so there are no problems. Otherwise, when I smell it in the streets when I'm walking by, I'm just like, ooh, that smells strong. I know, for example, in Rastafarian culture, there are a lot of sects of the Rastafarian that have rules about cannabis use. Using it in private, using it in prayer, and there are people that are very mindful in those senses. At the same time, there are some people that just feel so free. They're happy because that's like their biggest secret in life is they use cannabis, particularly marijuana, and they're just like so happy to be doing it in the streets at any time. I'm not upset for them. I think there are other health parameters, and I think it's just important for people to be considerate when it comes to any type of intake of intoxication, because there are a lot of things I don't even want to see when it comes to intoxication that I know exist in the world that I don't ever want to come across, and I know some people enjoy them. For example, like cigarettes. I'm like, ugh, I don't want a cigarette around me. I don't want a Black and Mild around me. I don't want a cigar around me. Some people love those things. You know, that's that concerning intoxication. All right, we're going to go into an origami session. We're going to have a nice little origami session. It's going to be so lovely. So lovely. So, we don't even have to go anywhere. Why? Because we have the paper right here. What? Today we're going to make an origami heart. It's so nice to make very few folds. So for the origami heart, I like to just fold the origami corner to corner, corner to corner. And right here. Just kind of keep it as sharp as possible. You know, I want it to be even. It's important to have good origami paper. When I say good origami paper, paper that one can easily fold into the appropriate forms so as to get the best results possible, because everyone folds different types of paper differently. So of course we have all of these parts here. Voila. Now guess what's going to happen? We're going to now take one corner. You can start any corner. It just has to be one corner because we're primarily working from, see that, one corner from two sides from the opposite ends. So we're going to take that corner up here. We're going to take one corner, bring it halfway to the center point in the middle. Then we're going to fold the other corner, the opposite corner, to the other, down the middle to the other end, so to the edge of the other end. Boom. So you can see, there's our first one. See the middle, and then the second one right there. Next, this is when it gets tricky. We're going to take the lower edge or the longer edge, and we're going to just fold it up. So fold one corner, and I'll show you so you have it. Fold one corner, fold one corner, just like that. See that? Boom, fold it, and bring that edge into the center line. I'm just gonna take this other half of the edge and fold it in to the center line. I'll do it facing the camera this time so you can see how it looks when I'm doing it facing me. I'm just gonna take it, I'm just gonna face it, and all right, now look. Well, we have a pointy heart. This is not bad, right? So that's a pointy heart. We're gonna add some flair to it. Now what we're gonna do is basically just fold the tip. So everywhere you see it's sharp and pointy, we're just gonna fold it, except for the bottom portion. Though you can do that too to keep it tight and closed. Just fold it in. Boom. Just fold it in each pointy section, and I'll even fold in the bottom edge here. So you see, this is how it looks just folding it regularly. And you can fold it kind of in, and then boom, you have a nice little heart. Such a nice heart. If you fold the bottom edge, what I like about doing this is very rare, so I like the actual pointiness, is that it kind of, see that? It gives us a nice little roundness. And what you can also try to do is really round each corner if you want to get into it. So adding little folds. And the initial folds, it kind of gives this nice little round humps. So this is usually pretty nice though. That's pretty good, and that's a heart. Ta-da! All right, now we're going to be talking about movies. Yes. I watched 2 movies. That's right, 2 movies. I'll be right back with them. House Party and Missing. Ooh. Both films I feel very differently about, because they're completely different films. House Party seems like a showcase of acting partners and musicians, celebrities. It's a comedy. It's a light film. It seems like a film that's just happening. It does have some funny moments. It can get a bit raunchy in terms of language, more so than actual content, imagery. The premise is just to throw a house party to pay off a friend's child's schooling. So there are a lot of lessons in the film, which are, for one, to really analyze, like being on social media, having a job, the difference between like fame and wealth. The film does seem to highlight LeBron as a philanthropist more so than a basketball player, to show this completely other side of what people might admire, though respect to the avenue which gets whoever to wherever personally. There is so much beneath that one has to really dig into that's in the film that is set in a comical way. Though, that's about it. There are a lot of interesting scenes and moral lessons about sticking with your friends, staying together. It comes across so blotchy, though. The messages are there. It's a mashup. Is it super hilarious? It's not really a remake. It's just a rendition of the original House Party film, if you're familiar with any. And that's all I really have to say about it. Do I enjoy it? I laugh in the film. I think it's just a light film. I can definitely recommend the film as a film to kind of have on in terms of streaming at kind of a house party. Though I don't know if it's really hitting my flavor spots all the way through. I can name a lot of good films that are funny. Though, like I said, I do enjoy the film for what it is. I'm not going to stunt you at all. Moving on. Missing is really good. More like a second episode. Not like a sequel to Searching, because they're both different, though similar, in dealing with technology and content to uncover a mystery. Searching, I remember thinking it being such a good film, whereas Missing, I think, is relevant in a lot of other senses that are important. I mean, we're looking at a different representation of how deep searching for missing individuals can be. The film highlights people of color, which I think stands out because we're looking at a level of consistency that is to be necessary for all individuals that go missing. Though don't really get the scope of how many actual individuals go missing, which brings the film to that point of contention for a viewer, I think, as an audience member, where I have to say, wow, how responsible can policing entities be when it comes to uncovering mysteries revolving around missing people? Which is a similarity from the film Searching. So we're looking at how surveillance can be good, and there are all these positives of technology in the film. I'm not gonna lie. I don't lie. I don't know why I even say that. It's in the film to feel somewhat commercial because of the depictions of certain companies, which I think is fine to point out what can be beneficial for one in the modern day we live in. Technology is wild as is going to get wilder, more intricate, and the parameters of technology for safety are so important. Of course, it comes to the fact of relationships. How does one police one's relationship? How can one benefit in a court system to protect one's family in an abusive relationship? How does one navigate a world in which a criminal is no longer part of one's family, though is dealing with so much personal angst and situations, and is somewhat of a threat to a family? There are a lot of deep underlying familial situations involving the court that come up in Missing that I think are very important to analyze. I'm speaking from the perspective, obviously, well, not that people know, of a single heterosexual cis, I have to say this nowadays, gender man. So I like to be mindful of the aspects of relationships that are in the film, because those are actually very important. Being in a good relationship is awesome. The one part about a film that starts off like most stories do in media res in the middle of the story is not having enough details beforehand to consider, well, does the abuse of the substances or in the relationship, which the abuse in the relationship, does become somewhat clear. We get a glimpse, though not directly. Is that apparent in the beginning of the relationship or after the child? A lot to consider, and the film goes into this entire spin, which I don't want to spoil, but be mindful of catfishing, criminality. It's a wild film. So Missing is definitely worth seeing in films. The theater gets lively, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why I say that. I'm not gonna lie to you. The theater gets lively, really lively. So that's actually an interesting point. So I do think the film does require a bit of focus. It's not just a film to have on like, oh yeah, that's the film Missing. The film is like we have to sit down and watch this to see what's going on, and I think that makes the film interesting. All right, enough of the film review, huh? Yeah, I like films. A lot more films I want to watch. Of course, I like reading books, if you don't already know. I enjoy reading books. So, recent book I finished is You Are Not Broken. I actually finished a lot more books than You Are Not Broken. But I want to talk about You Are Not Broken because it's the most recent book I finished reading, which is about, well, better navigating toward one's optimal, at least better than what it might be right now, sexual health, inclusive of a partner. Though a lot does focus in a way of self-diagnosis and self-observance and reflection, so one can ideally move on with oneself or with a professional. So the author is Dr. K.J. Casperson, and she's a urologist, which surprises me initially because I feel like a urologist is for men and a gynecologist is for women. I learned otherwise, which you can read more about in my book review section of phs.com. What I do like about the book is how direct the book is around developing personally, with a relationship in mind. It's not very long to me. I know that's subjective. It's about 190 pages, though seems to carry highlights from other books that seem relevant. So there aren't too many like history lessons in this one, for example. There aren't too many lengthy spills on medical terminology. And I'm literally thinking of books of OBGYNs that I recall being so distinct and wonderful, though distinct because of having these aspects. What makes this distinct is that it does carry those highlights from those other texts, which is all to focus on, as I say, being more sound with oneself in a relationship as well as alone in relation to one's sexual health. So I like the directness. I like the fact that I can just open the book and be like, oh, it's very easy to read in the sense of like how she communicates. Like, oh, bad sex sucks. Oh, well, I remember what this chapter is about. I mean, because we're trying to have good sex. Oh, you don't need desire to have sex. You can have good sex without desire. Oh, there are some health situations I need to be mindful of when I am going to be sexual. There are so many nice points here. I think this is a friendly sexual health book for couples especially. Though I think for anyone that's just trying to get into bettering one's sexual health. I like it. So it's You're Not Broken, Stop Shitting All Over Your Sex Life. Don't be mad about exploring your sexuality. Embrace it. She also, Dr. Casperson, ensures to share in the beginning that this book does start from a base of inclusivity, though through a lens of heteronormative standards. So we're talking penis and vulva to start. We're starting at the base of things. We're talking man and woman. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know, we can talk about it. I'm enjoying these segments. I want to share that the bookmark raffle will be happening very soon. I will put an Instagram story up. I'm letting you folks know now. There is going to be a $25 gas card and a $25 gift card to a particular store that might be able to service all one's needs. So the raffles will happen monthly. I'm looking forward to them. You can join in by just taking a picture with the bookmark and posting it. This way I can reshare it for the eternity of the highlight, or as long as you have your account on Instagram. And of course, if you do that on the forums, I can do the same thing, and I'll be monitoring all these. So we'll be having a live raffle. I will be doing it on my Instagram story so people can see what's happening, and there will be a winner. I will keep winners confidential. If there are no submissions, then I'll say, hey, well, guess what? I have a gift card here, and I'll just stack them. Though the whole idea is to be supportive, and I'm gonna keep on growing the channel in ways and the raffle in ways. So there are a lot of avenues coming that I'm exploring, that I'm walking on, that I'm living. All right. So thanks again. My name is Kevin Dufresne, and please feel free to share a comment or anything where you can, where I can see it, where we can discuss it. So we can. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.